or not, it has been 20 years since Spend It Like Beckham was released, a groundbreaking film that entertained and inspired a generation of footballers. Miriam Walker-Khan tells us more.
It's not fair, the boys never have to come home and help. I wonder if I had an arranged marriage, would I get someone who'd let me play football whenever I wanted?
Who are you talking to?
Spend It Like Beckham was a huge success and it made history as the highest grossing film about football.
There are so many elements of it that are still true today.
The film actually gave me a little bit of clarity on where I wanted to go with my life.
I was like, this is me on the screen. She's found her people. Maybe I can find my people.
So to celebrate its 20th anniversary, I'm going to take a deeper look at the impact of the film.
And have we discovered a new star here, Gary Lineker?
That's right, John. Could Jess Bamber be the answer to England's prayers? Alan?
Crikey, I look a lot younger.
Thinking comfortable on the ball. I tell you what, I wish he was playing for Scotland.
Yeah, I think I overacted a little bit.
It's one of those scenes that people, when they watch it now, they're like, oh yeah, I forgot that was in it.
It was funny because when we got there and then they kind of explained it to us and we all went, what?
She's bringing shame on the family, and you three shouldn't encourage her. Jasminda, you get back home now.
When you were filming it, did you know it was going to be so big?
I can't remember why I said yes because I'd kind of turned down a lot of things like that normally, but I think I did like the script and thought it was quite cute and funny. But I never imagined it would be the success that it obviously was.
It's the highest grossing football film ever.
Despite Hanson Barnes and myself.
Obviously the film turns 20 this month, but it still feels so classic and timeless. What is it, do you think, that gives it that timeless feel?
This film kind of brings up all those issues of identity and feeling like you don't quite fit in there, but you don't quite fit in there either. And so I think that's what's timeless about it, is that anyone can relate to that really, regardless of gender or ethnicity.
In a way, it's sad that it's still relatable to today's world, like 20 years later, but it's also, it's the concept of pushing for women's football, pushing that it shouldn't be women's football, it should just be football in general.
There's a lot of elements in it that I think, as a tomboy growing up who loved football and people's perceptions of what you have to be like if you like football and you're a woman, I think this really kind of fell sometimes into those stereotypes, but also pushed it in the sense that just because you like football, you dress a certain way, doesn't mean you have to be that idea of what it is to be a woman.
I want to play professionally.
Wow, can you do that? I mean, as a job, like?
Sure. Not really here, but you can in America. One of the best things about watching the film now is looking at the development of women's football in this country. Now we're seeing all the best American players come here and play in our league. What's that like for you as women's football fans to see that?
Where women's football is right now, with the WSL being one of the few fully professional leagues in the whole entire world, you know, our national team is becoming one of the best in the world. It is such an exciting time for women's football.
The WSL's finally being shown on TV, and about time, because I think now people can watch women's football and finally engage with it, because why would people watch women's football if it's not on TV? How would they watch it?
Rosie Committer, the first South Asian woman to play in the WSL. You're kind of like a real-life Jasminda, aren't you?
I might put that in my bio, Mim.
What's crazy is that Jasminda was probably, for a lot of South Asian girls, the only role model that looked like us and was from the same background, and she wasn't real, which is sad.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. And when you think about that, the fact that we had to really use our imagination in that sense and look at a film and think, oh, okay, that is possible, but it was a film, right? Whereas now, you can look at the likes of, I don't know, myself, Maz, who plays at Aston Villa at the moment. You can now see it, and I think that's the beauty of the difference that we've seen 20 years on, right? If we really focus on the positives. I know we've got a long way to go, but we're getting there.
And it's been 20 years since the film came out, but in 20 years, what would you like the football landscape to look like?
I think more of the same in terms of women's football in general. I think we're going in the right direction. Euro's coming up, it's an exciting time for everyone. And I think the stigma around women's football in general has changed massively, and I'm so relieved about that. And then if I think about it from an Asian perspective, I want us to be able to talk about ourselves in the landscape of women's football without mentioning the fact that we're Asian. and just that we're football players. I think I'd love that.